Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to talk about that Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 2, The Star-Spangled Man. And this is another great episode. I loved Episode 1, and I love this episode equally, but for different reasons. But Episode 1, I might be loved just a tad bit more. Like, I watched that thing 3 times. Like, I just adored Episode 1, and I love this episode, too. This episode gets real. Like, they kind of tap danced around the whole black experience in America issue in episode 1. You know, they're just kind of like, but they're like, nope, there's a way. Like, you know, but they don't. It's not too overt because I'll get into it when I get there. First of all, the title episode, Star Spangled Man with a Plan. If you recall, in the first Captain America movie, which of course I do. Star Spangled Man was the song. Was the song that was being played while Captain America was selling those war bonds and shit and kissing babies and you know going on stage in front of audiences and shit. The Star Spangled Man with a Plan. That whole freaking thing with the stage girls. But this version is played by a band at John Walker's high school. Because the episode opens up with John Walker, like, just kind of, like, staring at the locker rooms, and he, like, peels off a label, like, off of one of the lockers, and his name's underneath it. It's clearly kind of smudgy and got a little dirty, so it's clearly been a while since he was last here. But it's obvious that, this was where he used to go to school, and it means a lot to him to be back here. And a woman walks in the room to talk to him, and it's never confirmed if that's his wife or his girlfriend or what she is to him. They make reference to her sneaking in the locker rooms to see him, which clearly means that they had a relationship, which I can't tell I can't tell. I just can't. I can't tell if it's a sister relationship. I can't tell if it's a dating relationship. All I know is clearly they were close. And he's sitting there and he's kind of like nervous. And, a lot of people have pointed this out this morning. Very similar to how Steve Rogers was before he went on stage to start selling those war bonds. If you recall, he was nervous. He didn't know what to do. He was like, and like the guy was like, I'll just read. And like he had notes on the inside of his shield. And he was like, just read the notes and boom, sell some bonds, and like But, and John feels the same way. He gets consoled by his friend, another friend of his, who would go on to be Battlestar, which is an actual comic book thing. His friend who becomes his sidekick, I already forgot his name, because that's such a deep-cut comic book character, but he really is a character called Battlestar. Like, that's not something they just made up. John Walker, when he was Captain America, had this other guy, this African-American guy who was his friend, who was called Battlestar. Like, so that's ripped right out of the comic books there. But, he's consoling him. And, like, John seems like, once again, a lot like Captain America. He's like, I'm kind of over this going around, shaking hands, kissing babies, the parades and the meetings and all this shit. I just want to go do the actual job that I was hired to do. That they gave me this shield. They gave me this uniform to do. And, and his friend's just like, that is the job. So, there are more similarities between John Walker and Captain America than I think a lot of people initially thought. Because I know a lot of people flipped their shit at the end of that episode 1. They were like, how dare he wear that shield? And I'm like, I feel you. But I mean, I don't know. And I knew they were going to go this route. Like, I knew they were going to try to humanize him, try to make him not a bad guy. The one thing that is for sure intriguing throughout the entire episode and episode 1 is everybody, it's a gray world. Like, everything is in gray. Even John Walker, he's in gray. The Flag Smashers, the villains that we think they are, they're in gray. Like, everything is in gray. The only inkling of like true evil we see in this episode is a mention to the Power Broker, who is a comic book character. The Power Broker. The Power Broker gave a lot of villains their superpowers, including John Walker. He gave a lot of villains super strength and super abilities. He's similar to the Tinkerer, and in the Spider-Man, in that a lot of Spider-Man comic books, the Tinkerer is the guy who actually made a lot of the tools for a lot of his villains. And same thing with the Power Broker. He is responsible for a lot of superheroes getting like super strength and things of that nature. Like usually if some like thug just shows up with super strength, he probably got it from the Power Broker. So we haven't seen the Power Broker yet, by the way. There's mention of him. Their guys are coming after the Flag Smashers, but we don't see them yet. But that's me just skipping ahead. But yeah, they have the whole parade thing. It's Good Morning America, which I know is like shameless product placement because ABC, Good Morning America, Disney. But I mean, if you got it, might as well do it. I guess, if you got it. Same way they did a 30 for 30 for the Mighty Ducks on ESPN. Like, they have a whole clip of a 30 for 30 for the Mighty Ducks. And it's like, well, they own ESPN, so I mean, you might as well do it. But they did the same thing for Luke Cage too. When on Luke Cage season 2, when Luke Cage was trying to figure out could he make it to the NFL with his abilities, they had people from ESPN come down and interview him. So it was on ESPN. So like they did the same thing, It's you gotta take advantage of what you got there, because look, it's just easier to do it that way. You got it, might as well use it. But it's great, you get an introduction to John Walker, you get an introduction. I know I'm talking long about John Walker, but I think John Walker and another little bit are the two big chunks of this episode that really, are like the pillars of this episode, the important stuff that is gonna go forward and just be like huge, which is John Walker's introduction. You find out that no, he is actually a good, capable dude. He's the perfect soldier. See, he's the perfect soldier. He's what Erskine didn't want. So I think that's very interesting too. But we get to Sam and Bucky when they first meet. Needless to say, Bucky's upset at Sam for giving up the shield. Bucky knows what that shield meant. Bucky knows that Cap gave him that shield. Sam doesn't want to hear about it. Clearly Sam didn't know, because some people were confused. They were like, oh, did Sam know? No, he didn't know. He clearly thought they were going to just put that in the fucking museum and it was going to just be something that people marvel at. It was going to be something that could be, left there, and they gave it to this dude. And but Sam's in the middle of trying to go on a mission because he found a lead on the Flag Smashers. Bucky, basically just itching to do something, decides to go with them. Now you've seen these clips you've seen these clips online, but they're still hilarious. The whole the big three, they could be members of the big three. And he's like, what the hell's the big three? And he's like, androids, aliens, and wizards. It's just like, well, we always. I love it when a comic book universe or a comic book or even a franchise, even a crazy franchise in general, because Supernatural used to do stuff like this. There's a lot of things that do stuff like there's other worlds that do stuff like this too. I just can't think of them off the top of my head, but Supernatural definitely comes to mind. When the world is so fantastical and the characters have been through so much and seen so much that they can almost not poke fun at how crazy their world is, not poke fun at their experiences, but almost just be so self-aware about it, just like, dude, shit like this happens all the time. Like, I can't tell you how many times in Supernatural it'd just be like, you hear the most wild thing and it's just like, yep, it is what it is. It's like, like something that would have been like, oh my god, I can't believe, how do we handle it? It's just like, nah, we see shit like this all the time. And I love that, they're just, super beings and shit like that. And you're like, yeah, well. But yeah, and the Sam and Bucky dynamic is on full display. It's fantastic. They're tit for tat. They're back and forth. Them not wanting to talk to one another. But it's clear Bucky feels like, you find out later on why Bucky is so upset at Sam. But it's clear Bucky's upset over his decision. But they're going on this mission, and Bucky seems like he is up. He's like revved up to fight. Now that I'm thinking about it, perhaps he was like, spoiler alert for like later on episodes, but this whole thing is a spoiler. You find out later on that he was supposed to, he's legally obligated to make those therapy sessions, and if he misses a therapy session, he he becomes wanted, and the cops are looking for him to come pick him up. So like to take him to jail. So now I'm wondering if Bucky was trying to rush to take out all these people so he can get back in time for that therapy session, or if he was just itching to punch someone. Either way, there was a whole funny sequence between those two, especially with him being like, "What do you think you are?" He was like Bucky sneaking around, and Sam just antagonizing him, like, "Look at you. You think you spent a little bit of time on Wakanda? You think you White Panther?" Just I'm just screwing with him. How Bucky sneaked in there, turned to his right, and Sam's just right there, and he's like, "What the hell? How'd you get here? How did you get in here?" But yeah, their whole tip, and then we get the action sequence we've seen in the trailers, but the full version of it, of them fighting the Flag Smashers on top of those two semis, and all. But the thing you don't get to see is U.S. Agent show up with the shield. Now, you had seen a clip earlier in the episode of U.S. Agent using that shield really effectively. Now, it's so weird with the shield, because I've seen a lot of people confused. I've seen a lot of people saying things like, U.S. Agent and and Sam shouldn't be able to use the shield. No one, a normal person, shouldn't be able to use the shield. But that's not the case. That shield is not as big, it's not as heavy, and it's not as difficult to throw as people think it is. In fact, Hawkeye threw it in Avengers Age of Ultron pretty effectively. In fact, if we're going to go to the comic books, multiple characters, no one can throw it as well as Captain America because he's used it so long that it's almost an extension of his being. But people can throw that shield just as effectively. Hawkeye can throw that shield just as effectively. You don't have to be a super soldier to throw that shield effectively. You just have to have the skill. Essentially, I mean, you gotta think about it. And when you see like those professional like muscle men throw like discs, or like the disc toss or whatever, you know, like when they throw those things. When you see people do stuff like that in the Olympics, you know, like those things are like a shit ton of light, weigh a lot more. Captain America's shield in the MCU weighs 12 pounds. 12 pounds. Maybe 11. I know it doesn't weigh, like, and even in the comics it only weighs 15. It's not heavy. It is really not that heavy. And you gotta understand too, is it's really aerodynamic because of the way it's, you know, shaped. Like, the material that it's made out of and the way it's shaped, that's not a normal, you know, shield. Like, even when you throw it, it doesn't make the noise that it makes. That shield picks up speed pretty quickly. Like, it's a momentum thing. Like, sure, Cap, sure, Sam may never ever be able to throw it as effectively, as efficiently as Captain America, but he can still throw it, and you see John Walker throwing it, though I do suspect John Walker might have some super soldier stuff going on, though he did get handled by those other super soldiers pretty easily once he didn't have the shield, so maybe he does, maybe he don't, but I know one thing, look, he knows how to throw that damn shield, because he was bang, bang, I was like, okay, John, I see you. But, you know, but he shows up, they get this awesome fight sequence on there, they fail to stop the Flag Smashers, John fails, you know, he does this awesome trick where his running mate, Battlestar, falls off the truck, and, like, he does this thing where he, like, flips the shield underneath him before he hits the ground, and he lands on the shield and slides. It was a badass move he did, like, admittedly. And he was like, in a way, he uses the gun too with the shield, so he uses the gun, his sidearm with the shield. Look, man, I'm just waiting for some more badass sequences with him. But then we get to some real shit. They couldn't figure out why something was going on. Like, there's a whole tidbit with them that's actually really good too, but I really want to get to this tidbit because I don't want this video to go on too long. When they go meet Isaiah Bradley. Now, I will be posting up my Captain America, my Truth, Red, White, and Black review of the comic book that introduced Isaiah Bradley. I truly regret not posting it up sooner. I wasn't sure when Isaiah Bradley was going to come out, and I wasn't sure if he was actually going to be in it. So I was like, I want to post this up and it not even matter. But now it matters more importantly than anything, since Isaiah Bradley is literally trending on Twitter. So is his son, his grandson Elijah, but we'll see what happens with him. He becomes a superhero in his own right. But anywho's, the Isaiah Bradley thing. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole story here because I'm going to post up the video that I made talking about the comic right after this. So I'm not going to get into the details of Isaiah Bradley, but just say it was fucked up. Anywho, it turns out Bucky knew another super soldier. Apparently America made a successful super soldier after Captain America. They probably don't know how they did it. And that's completely the thing. They don't know how they did it. They made another super soldier, and it was Isaiah Bradley, and they made him go after the Winter Soldier, and apparently he beat the shit out of the Winter Soldier. Apparently Isaiah was ridiculous. He beat the shit out of the Winter Soldier. And, well, the government, and what did he get as a reward for making it back home? Apparently he got arrested for 30 years for some reason or another, but they were going to him because he's a super soldier. He's the only other super soldier Bucky knows, so he thought maybe he would know something that was going on. But I guarantee you that the person who made Bucky, or who gave him his superpowers, is the same exact person who's given these young radicals the superpowers. Plus, there's a great scene earlier too where you get to really see that that the Flag Smashers are thought of like Robin Hood, basically. You know, like they're on some Guy Fawkes shit, man. They're on some remember. They're on some goddamn V for Vendetta shit with this whole, you know, they're like, burn it down, burn down the man, like burn down the walls that hold us in. Like, that's basically Flag Smashers. But and they stole vaccines. They stole medicine. Now I'm gonna go on a limb and say they stole that medicine for actually good reasons. I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that. Just saying. But yeah, that whole scene with Isaiah was rough, was tough, and it was real, and it really harkened back to that comic book. And then you get this real scene where, you know, Bucky and them are standing in the middle of the streets in the projects, and Sam is livid about Bucky not mentioning Isaiah, and he's, you know, yelling at Bucky, and like, and I believe the cops were coming there to get Bucky. But then they didn't know who. But you know they don't. But they got there and they saw this black man yelling at this white dude in the middle of the street, and they pulled up and were about to arrest Sam until Bucky was like, "You know who he is?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Falcon. Oh my bad, I didn't mean to. I didn't know. I didn't recognize you. My bad, sir." And like it was. I was like, "Yo," I was like, they went there. Okay, all right, man. That's whew. All right, but yeah, I think I got this great scene later on where they're in the whole meeting. Line of the episode though truly is when Bucky starts when you've seen this when they're in the therapy session in the trailer when Bucky says Steve trusted you, Steve believed in you, and if he was wrong about you, then he's wrong. Then maybe he's wrong about me. Big line of the episode. The episode ends with them agreeing that they gotta go talk to Zemo. And they do a total, like, Hannibal Lecter with him playing chess with himself with this classic music playing as he sits in this dark. I'm like, oh, they're Hannibal Lecter in him up, man. But I love this episode, man. I give the same score I gave last week's episode. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. Loved it. Thought it was great. Did a lot of great character things. Literally, there's so much more I want to talk about, but I don't want to make this video too long. So thank you guys for joining the Comic and Move Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I will be posting up my comic book review of Truth, Red, White, and Black right after this.